every knockout in history, every fighter who ever hit the canvas, every street fight that ended in 3 seconds, every person who went to sleep mid-sentence, it happened at one of 8 specific coordinates on the human body. Not random, not luck, pure biology. Today we map all 8, we explain exactly what happens inside the nervous system when each one is hit, and we count down to the most dangerous knockout point the human body possesses. One of these is illegal in every combat sport on the planet. Stay until number 1. Knockout point 8, the solar plexus. The solar plexus is not a bone or a muscle. It is a dense network of nerve ganglia, the celiac plexus, sitting directly behind the stomach, just below the sternum, completely unprotected behind a wall of muscle that a focused strike passes straight through. When it receives a direct impact, it does not send a pain signal. It sends a system command. The diaphragm, the dome-shaped muscle responsible for every breath the human body takes, receives an involuntary spasm signal simultaneously. The diaphragm locks. Inhalation becomes physically impossible, not difficult. Impossible. The lungs cannot expand. Oxygen stops. The brain, receiving no new oxygen, responds the only way it can. It shuts down non-essential functions and drops the person to the floor. This is why a clean body shot in boxing produces a delayed collapse. The strike lands. The fighter looks functional for 2 to 4 seconds. Then the diaphragm spasm fully locks and they fold without warning. It is not willpower keeping them upright. It is the nervous system's processing lag before the shutdown completes. How it works. In reality, a punch, front kick, or knee driven just below the sternum at a slightly upward angle reaches the celiac plexus through the abdominal wall. Precision matters more than power. The diaphragm does the rest automatically. You do not need a knockout. 30 seconds of no breathing ends the fight the same way. Knockout point 7, the brachial plexus. Before we explain what this point does, we need to correct what the internet says it does. The brachial plexus is consistently overhyped as a knockout point. It is not. It is a stunning point, and the distinction matters because confusing the two gets people hurt, expecting a result they will not get. The brachial plexus is a network of nerve roots running from the cervical spine through the neck and into the shoulder, carrying every motor and sensory signal between the brain and the arm. It sits in a pocket between the neck, the trapezius, and the top of the shoulder. Partially accessible but surrounded by muscle and bone that absorb and redirect force. A direct focus strike here, a downward knife hand, a ridge hand, a hard thumb drive causes a stinger effect through the entire arm. The arm goes numb. Motor control drops. The grip fails. The shoulder stops responding for several seconds. Genuinely useful in a real encounter. But consciousness is not affected. The person is still standing, still fighting, and now angry. Use this point to disable the arm. Do not use it expecting someone to go to sleep. How it works. In reality, drive a downward knife hand into the pocket between the neck and trapezius. Use this to disable the arm, not to finish the fight. In a grab or clinch, this target faces you directly. One strike and the arm stops working long enough to create your next move. Knockout point 6. The mastoid process. Directly behind the ear sits a dense protrusion of bone called the mastoid process. Most people assume the thick sternocleidomastoid muscle protects it, but that muscle attaches below the mastoid. The mastoid process itself sits just behind the earlobe, covered by nothing but skin. Beneath it, the petrous bone contains the inner ear, the cochlea and the vestibular apparatus, and 2 cranial nerves hardwired directly to the brainstem exit the skull here. A sharp focused blow transmits concussive force through the thin outer bone, simultaneously disrupting the vestibular system and delivering a shock through both cranial nerve pathways to the brainstem. The inner ear controls every aspect of spatial orientation and balance. When it receives sudden trauma, both functions stop at the same moment. The result is not a fighter who slowly goes down, it is a fighter whose legs simply stop working as a single unit. How it works. In reality, this is the hook that wraps slightly behind the head. Fighters who absorb jaw shots without going down will collapse from a mastoid strike because the mechanism is entirely different. The jaw requires rotational brain trauma. The mastoid requires vestibular failure. A fighter who has trained their chin has not trained their inner ear. Knockout point 5. The carotid sinus. On both sides of the neck, where the carotid artery divides just below the angle of the jaw, sits a small cluster of specialized pressure sensors called the carotid sinus. These baroreceptors have one function: monitor blood pressure and report it continuously to the brainstem. When they detect pressure exceeding normal parameters, they send an emergency signal, and the brainstem responds immediately by dropping heart rate and dilating blood vessels. It is a life-saving mechanism and one of the most exploitable vulnerability points in the human body because it cannot distinguish between actual elevated blood pressure and external mechanical pressure applied from outside the artery wall. A strike or compression to the carotid sinus tricks the baroreceptors into sending a false emergency signal. The brainstem executes a full vasovagal cascade. Heart rate drops, blood pressure crashes. The brain receives insufficient blood flow and consciousness ceases within seconds. This is not concussive trauma. It is a blood pressure crash triggered by the body's own regulatory system turning against itself. How it works. In reality, blood chokes in grappling work through carotid sinus compression, not airway restriction. The rear naked choke, the guillotine, the triangle, all produce unconsciousness in 8 to 13 seconds by compressing the carotid sinus bilaterally. A fighter going to sleep in a rear naked choke is not being strangled. They are experiencing a controlled vasovagal response. Recovery is rapid because no brain trauma occurred. Knockout. Point 4. The liver. The liver sits on the right side of the torso beneath the lower floating ribs. Ribs with no anterior attachment that provide almost no protection against lateral or upward force. It is supplied by the hepatic nerve plexus, one of the most pain-sensitive networks in the abdominal cavity, connected directly to the vagus nerve. A clean strike here does not cause pain the way a rib shot does. It causes a neurological event. The hepatic plexus fires a massive signal through the vagal network that the autonomic nervous system interprets as a catastrophic internal event. Heart rate drops, blood pressure falls, and voluntary muscle control in the legs is withdrawn entirely. The fighter is hit, remains upright, their face shifts not to pain but to complete confusion as though they cannot understand why their legs have stopped receiving commands. Then they fold from the legs upward, unable to stop it. How it works in reality. The liver cannot be conditioned. No training, no abdominal work, no level of athletic development changes the hepatic nerve response to compression trauma. A fighter with 20 years of experience goes down from a clean liver shot exactly the same way a beginner does. The biology does not negotiate. A left hook to the body or left body kick that passes the floating rib guard lands here. When it does, the outcome is not in doubt. Knockout. Point 3. The temple. At the pterion, where 4 skull bones meet between the eye and ear. The skull thins to just 2 to 4 millimeters. Directly beneath runs the middle meningeal artery supplying the brain's protective membrane. A strike here transmits force to the temporal lobe with almost no bone to absorb it and simultaneously generates rotational brain trauma. The margin between a knockout and an epidural hematoma at this location is governed purely by force. After some temple knockouts, the fighter regains consciousness, appears functional, then deteriorates as blood pools between skull and brain. This is the documented talk and die syndrome. The fighter seems fine. They are not fine. How it works in reality. Hooks, spinning back fists and head kicks that land at the temple rather than the cheek work through a different mechanism than jaw strikes. You need less force here to produce a knockout than at any other point on the skull. A clean temple shot from a powerful striker carries a risk profile that extends well beyond the knockdown. Knockout. Point 1. The brainstem base. Every other point on this list disrupts the brain indirectly. This is the only one that targets the brain's control infrastructure directly. The brainstem controls breathing, heart rate, and consciousness itself. It sits at the base of the skull where the bone is thinnest, and the distance from the outer surface to the neural tissue beneath it is almost nothing. Trauma here produces outcomes that cannot be controlled by the person applying the force. A knockout at minimum, respiratory depression at the middle, permanent brainstem damage, or death at the upper end. A fighter hit here does not always wake up in a few seconds. This is why the rabbit punch carries criminal liability in multiple jurisdictions when it results in death. 8 points. All biological. Every knockout you have ever watched happened at one of these coordinates. The body does not have infinite ways to lose consciousness. It has 8. Now you know all of them. If you want to go deeper, the full breakdown, the complete protocols, and the practical applications. Everything is in the Master Yourself Lab. Links are in the description. Subscribe. New content every week. Master yourself.